If you are still spending 15 minutes every morning closing your eyes, visualizing yourself driving that Ferrari, or walking through your dream mansion, stop immediately. You are not manifesting success. Biologically, you are destroying your physical capacity to achieve it. Here is the neuroscience that the law of attraction gurus ignore. Research shows that when you visualize a perfect outcome, your systolic blood pressure actually drops. Your body physically relaxes. Why? Because your brain releases a premature spike of dopamine that tricks your nervous system into believing the task is already finished. You feel satisfied in the moment, but you have just drained the metabolic energy required to get off the couch and do the work. Your brain struggles to distinguish between reality and imagination, and that is exactly why positive visualization is a trap. You don't need more dreams, you need a biological trigger for action. Today, in the finale of our 7-day mindset reset, we are deleting the dream board. Instead, I will teach you shadow visualization. This is the exact cognitive protocol used by NASA astronauts and Olympic champions to hack the brain's effort circuitry. It's time to stop hallucinating success and start engineering it. Welcome to the final stage. Just look at the foundation we have built over the last week. In days 1 and 2, we exposed the hidden malware of your limiting beliefs and broke the cycle of homeostasis. By day 3, we executed the identity shift, rewriting your internal code so your reticular activating system stops fighting your goals. Then, we moved to physiology, repairing your fried receptors with the MEDS protocol, and aggressively hacking your environment for deep focus. Right now, you probably feel unstoppable. Your clarity is high and your motivation is peaking. But here is the uncomfortable data. Statistically, without today's protocol, most of you will crash back to your old baseline within 14 days. Why? It is not because you are weak. It is a biological mechanism known as the Dopamine Reward Prediction Error. You see, humans are wired to addictively chase the anticipation of a reward. Right now, you are high on the chemical rush of preparing to change your life, rather than actually changing it. This is the false hope trap. You have built a Ferrari engine, but you haven't put it in gear yet. The feeling of readiness is not momentum, it is just another form of procrastination. So, if dreaming of the destination actually sedates you, what is the fuel that drives action? The answer is fear. Your brain's amygdala, the ancient threat detection center, is evolutionarily wired to prioritize survival over pleasure. In neurobiological terms, the motivation to avoid pain or overcome a threat is up to 3 times stronger than the motivation to chase a reward. We are going to harness this using a protocol I call shadow visualization. This isn't just theory. Dr. Emily Balcetis at New York University conducted groundbreaking research on this exact phenomenon. She found a startling correlation. Participants who visualized the process, specifically the friction, the struggle, and the difficulties they would inevitably face, actually increased their systolic blood pressure and execution energy by over 200% compared to those who simply visualized the finish line. When you visualize the obstacle, your brain releases norepinephrine. It wakes up. It prepares for battle. While the dreamer is relaxing, the shadow visualizer is chemically priming their body to fight. To operationalize this, we use a cognitive framework scientifically known as mental contrasting, often structured as WOOP, wish, outcome, obstacle, plan. Most people stop at the wish. We are going to focus entirely on the obstacle and the plan. Let's look at a concrete example. The amateur visualizes the result. I want 6-pack abs. They close their eyes, see themselves on a beach looking fit, and feel good. That feeling is the trap. It signals safety to the brain. The pro uses shadow visualization. They simulate the failure points. They think, tomorrow morning, the temperature will drop. It will be freezing. My bed will be incredibly warm. When that alarm rings at 6 a.m., my biological drive will scream at me to hit snooze. my legs will physically want to curl back under the duvet. That is the moment I will fail. That is the obstacle. Now you encode the plan. When I feel that specific resistance, I will immediately throw the covers off and put my feet on the cold floor within 3 seconds. By pre-visualizing the struggle, you are not being negative. You are creating a neural pathway. When the cold morning hits, your brain doesn't panic or negotiate. It recognizes the pattern and executes the script. However, predicting the pain is only half the battle. You can grit your teeth through resistance for a week, maybe 2. But eventually, relying on pure adrenaline and shadow visualization alone can tax your central nervous system. If you redline your engine every single day, you will crash. And crashing is not an option, because the biological goal of this entire reset is not just hard work. It is myelination. Every time you repeat a behavior, specialized cells in your brain wrap that neural circuit in a fatty substance called myelin. Think of myelin as insulation tape on an electrical wire. The thicker the myelin, the faster the signal travels, and the more automatic the habit becomes. But here is the catch. Myelin builds through volume and repetition, not short bursts of intensity. If you burn out after 2 weeks, you stop the myelination process and the habit dies. So, you need a mechanism to sustain that repetition for 90 consecutive days without hitting biological burnout. This is where we leave the realm of psychology and enter the realm of elite performance mechanics. We need the 85% rule. There is a toxic myth in the high-performance industry that tells you to give 110% every single day. You are told to grind, to hustle, and to crush every goal with maximum intensity. But from a neurobiological perspective, this approach is not just unsustainable, it is a direct trigger for failure. When you demand perfection from yourself, when you wake up thinking you must hit every habit, execute every task perfectly, and never miss a beat, you are flooding your system with cortisol. Cortisol is your primary stress hormone. In short bursts, it mobilizes energy. But when chronically elevated by the pressure of perfectionism, it shifts your brain activity from the prefrontal cortex, where logical decision-making happens, to the amygdala and brainstem. This triggers a biological freeze response. You know this feeling. You sit down to work, you know exactly what to do, but you just can't. You stare at the screen. You pick up your phone. You feel paralyzed. This isn't laziness. It is a safety mechanism. Your brain perceives the pressure of 100% effort as a survival threat, so it pulls the emergency brake to conserve energy. To bypass this, we apply the 85% rule. This rule is derived from groundbreaking research in machine learning and cognitive science, including studies published in Nature Communications. Researchers looked at how quickly artificial intelligence and human brains learn new tasks. They found that the sweet spot for optimal learning and neuroplasticity wasn't when accuracy was 100%. It was when the error rate was approximately 15.87%. If you are succeeding 100% of the time, your brain disengages. It stops releasing acetylcholine, the chemical marker for focus, because the task is too easy. No new neural pathways are being formed. Conversely, if you are failing too much, you quit. The 85% rule suggests that you should aim for a B+ performance, not an A+. You need a 15% margin of error or incompleteness to keep your brain's learning centers online. So, don't try to have a perfect day. Aim to complete 85% of your to-do list. Aim for 85% intensity in your workout. This lowers the cortisol threshold just enough to bypass the freeze response, keeping you in a state of consistent execution rather than paralyzed perfectionism. However, even with the right intensity, you can still be crushed by the sheer size of your ambitions. This brings us to dopamine spotlighting. When you look at a massive 5-year goal, like building $1 million business or completely transforming your physique, your brain registers a reward prediction error. The gap between where you are and where you want to be is too wide. Your brain calculates the effort required, realizes the reward is too far away, and cuts off your dopamine supply. You feel overwhelmed. To fix this, visualize a man climbing a mountain in the pitch black of night. He has a flashlight on his head. If he looks up at the peak, he sees nothing but darkness and distance. He feels fear. But if he looks down, his spotlight illuminates only the 3 feet of ground directly in front of him. He steps there. Then the light moves to the next 3 feet. You must treat your goals the same way. Forget the summit. Narrow your cognitive spotlight to the single next hour. I will write for 45 minutes. When you complete that microtask, your brain releases a small, immediate spike of dopamine. These microspikes act as fuel, chemically propelling you to the next step without triggering the overwhelm of the mountain. You don't need a checklist to start. You just need to narrow your focus. Right now, look at the screen. Forget the big mountain. What is the single hour of work you need to do today? That is your spotlight. Focus there, and let the 85% rule protect you from the paralysis of perfection. Because the final piece that seals this entire system together isn't a document. It's your mindset. We established in day 3 that you must shift your identity to change your life. But identity is not just a belief you hold in your head. It is a callus you build on your hands through action. There is a vast, terrifying gap between your current self and your future self. Most people try to fill that gap with dreams because dreaming feels safe. But the only thing that actually bridges that void is friction. You have to understand that neuroplasticity, the literal rewiring of your brain, requires focus and agitation. It requires strain. If you are not feeling resistance, you are not changing. As the saying goes, success is not a comfortable procedure. It is a very uncomfortable thing to attempt. So you have to get comfortable being uncomfortable. Stop waiting for the work to feel easy. Stop waiting for the right time or the perfect flow state. If you are waiting for it to feel good, you are waiting to fail. You need to fall in love with the friction itself. You need to look at that discomfort and realize that it is the only evidence that you are actually moving forward. This brings us to the end of our 7-day mindset reset. But do not mistake this finish line for a victory lap. All we have done this week is clear the mud off your windshield, clean out the engine, and calibrate the instruments. We have removed the biological handbrakes that were holding you back. But a clean engine means nothing if the car sits in the garage. The reset is over. The system is optimized. But the machine will not run itself. You have to put your hands on the wheel, look at the road, and press the gas. The preparation phase is done. The learning is done. The only thing left is the execution. You are the pilot, and the runway is clear. So, here is where I leave you. Do not let this be just another video you watch to feel productive before clicking over to a funny cat video or scrolling through social media. Passive consumption is the enemy of progress. I am issuing you a direct challenge right now. Put your phone down. Pick exactly one major goal. Write down the 3 biggest, most painful obstacles that will try to stop you. Execute your shadow visualization. And then, take the first imperfect step today, aiming for just 85% accuracy. Do not wait for Monday. Do not wait for tomorrow. Start the engine now. You have officially completed the 7-day mindset reset. Congratulations. But understand this. We have only just finished the prologue of what Mind Beacon TV has to offer. We are done with the basics. In the upcoming weeks, we are entering Level 2 of Human Optimization. We will be dissecting the neuroeconomics of wealth, specifically, why your brain's default mode network is biologically wired to repel financial abundance unless you manually intervene. We will break down the endocrine protocols of high-stakes negotiation, teaching you how to chemically suppress cortisol in real time to dominate any room. These aren't just tips. They are the operating system of the top 1%. If you are serious about optimizing your existence, you cannot afford to miss this. Hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell right now to ensure you receive the next software update. You have the protocols. You have the science. The execution is up to you. Class dismissed.